It's been a while for FaZe since they've beaten G2. G2 2-0 against them in the winter split, but this is a big chance for FaZe to start turning the script and get into the grand final, Turtle.
Yeah, and I'm spoiled, okay? I got to cast the Space Station Gaming versus FaZe matchup yesterday, and then now we come out here, we've got G2 versus FaZe, which is going to be another nail-biter. And if you remember back to the previous series, Jorby, FaZe Clan, they started out poorly, but they have this mental strength with them that they've been carrying ever since the major. And I think that there's a valid reason why the desk was so split here, even when G2 seemed like the clear favorites.
For FaZe, I mean, it's been a good road for FaZe, but a difficult one in terms of getting into the grand final. Since they switched to Typical, they have not made a grand final in any online regional. So this is a big chance for them in the upper final to finally get one over G2 and get into a grand final with Typical. FaZe have looked pretty good so far in this tournament, but this is by far their biggest task yet. Yeah,
and they're up against the G2 that's hungry, and they've got a lot on the line. Winning this series, of course, securing a world spot if they're able to beat FaZe fans. So much on the line for G2, a lot to fight for, which is going to drive them even further here in this series to be aggressive and to keep up that peak performance that we've been seeing. But hold on, they're going to have to block a couple of shots. There's one from AJ, saved away from Chicago.
Not the best, oh my goodness. Nice save there from Typical off the bar. I was going to say AJ's shot not as powerful as he was probably hoping. JNAB's able to get that touch away, and Atomic and Chicago were finding a way to fuse their cars. Nice pass over to AJ from first killer, but nothing materializes.
And there's a double commit here on the play from G2 Esports, as JNABs does get a demo on the play, allowing a little bit more space. But then here comes Chicago getting bumped down, and Atomic, he's been third man for quite some time, forced to get a couple of saves. Another demo from first killer onto Chicago, but JNAB's carrying it by himself, and he's able to take this one all the way down to the other side of the field.
Good boom here for first killer. Atomic wins the 50. Still FaZe's ball. And again, G2 just getting in front of another opportunity for FaZe. Typical. Opting for control. He was able to dump it down to first killer. Atomic still got the 50. Chicago up next. And FaZe are going to cover that backboard nicely. Try to control the ball out of their own half.
Ooh, AJ. Nice mechanics here, coming out with a flip reset. And if we do think back to yesterday, what worked well for FaZe Clan was their ability to read the play and dodge a lot of demos. Space Station Gaming were so aggressive, so for G2, the physical play won't be as effective. We're going to need to see, of course, Atomic popping off on the offense. We need Chicago to keep up that star striking performance. I mean, the dude has been insane. I talked about on the desk, over 50%. I believe he's sitting at 56% shooting accuracy here in the tournament so late, and they're still getting saves like this on their own half, somehow keeping FaZe Clan at bay.
Nice little loft there from JNAPS, but Atomic has to stay back as Chicago rotates to midfield. No one really able to grab an advantage over the other. G2, only 3 shots on net, but that's the same for FaZe. Here's Atomic, flip reset available, drops it down, but no pass is going to come. FaZe got every angle covered, and they get another clear.
Chicago, nice control touch there. Keep things forward. They're moving out of their own half rather well, Jorby, but when it comes to offense and getting that final opportunity, FaZe Clan have got them pretty well read. They're getting in front of the shots, not letting anything float towards their half or even towards their net.
Ooh. This one does come towards them, but I mean, like you said, even when G2 do get to those corners, FaZe lock down the options, and it's difficult for G2 to find anything. But I mean, same goes for FaZe. While they have had a couple of chances in front of the box, they've been awkward opportunities. And G2, while they've looked maybe a bit uncomfortable in front of their box, really nothing has phased them as much on offense.
Yeah, it feels like the striking is a little bit weaker here for FaZe Clan, might be warming up. There's a good bump from Chicago in the air, but didn't have the follow-up. But like I was alluding to earlier, or just now actually, I just feel like the striking, if it gets picked up a tidbit for FaZe Clan, things could really work out for them. We've seen a couple of weak shots from AJ. First killer, not the best here. Here's another pinch from Typical, and first killer, AJ's downfield, doesn't take the boost, and instead opts out to leave it for Typical. And a couple more chances for FaZe Clan, but nothing too threatening as G2 are reading the play well.
G2 protect their own boost. First killer having to rotate out, and Atomic winning the next 50. We are in lockstep right now. Yeah. Another boomer for Typical. AJ's up for this one. What's he got?
Oh, what a
straight down off the backboard, but nobody comes in for the shot. It was Typical who came in, but didn't even get a touch on the ball as JNABS brings it back down with Chicago.
And a good transition, Chicago. Maybe forcing a 50-50. Atomic hit the brakes, looking to get another solid challenge there in front of the box, but it doesn't work out. And oh my goodness, Jorby, we are literally back and forth. The defense from both teams standing so strong. It's going to take a lot more than just a simple shot from the midfield to break through that goal line.
It was nice from JNABs there. Got the initial bump onto Typical and then finished the job to make sure he got control. But now Typical pushes downfield.
Here we go.
Got through one on JNABs. Chicago's up for the defense. He's got it against First Killer. G2 going to keep the ball close. No, JNABs just gives it back to Typical. AJ's in the air. And First Killer coming back. We're looking like an overtime in game one.
I thought maybe we get another FaZe Clan buzzer beater, which we did see yesterday, but fortunately enough, we do get OT, and we'll see what G2 have to offer. They're the ones winning the kickoff, but First Killer immediately reads the situation, and we're back down the other side.
There's only been one real opportunity for G2, I feel, the one from Atomic near the start of the game, but hang on. FaZe getting something set up. AJ just missing the touch, but he gets it away. Forces JNAPS to go to the opposite side, and he'll boom it downfield.
I like that aggression, though, from AJ, having a very tight rotation, cutting in early. That might be necessary against G2 if it's a difficult position now to break down the defense. You're going to need to have somebody being aggressive like that from AJ, maybe cutting in early on. That's not the best touch, though. Hold on a second. Here's Chicago. Might lead to something off the backboard. Let's see what Atomic has.
Nothing's breaking right now. FaZe got the backboard still on lock. First Killer trying to set something up in mid, but AJ playing a little farther back on that. He will get the touch off of JNAS, but Chicago pushes it forward. Chicago waiting for the next touch, but Turtle, again, FaZe really not relenting here on defense, and AJ gets right up there for the challenge. Might have been the one chance you think, okay, G2 are going to get the clear shot, but then AJ comes up with the 50.
I mean, I think we gotta, hopefully everybody has some snacks, to be honest with you, because this might be a long overtime. It's not just FaZe who aren't letting up, it's G2 as well. Back and forth, clears down to each side. I'm not seeing any open mistakes or big gaps that these teams can take advantage of. It feels like at this point it's going to come down to maybe a double commit like that one out of G2, or something stellar like a couple of flip resets, something mechanical to break through that line.
And there's been a lot of talk over the course of the season as FaZe ripped one towards the net about FaZe's defense, but it has been working to excellent effect against G2 so far. AJ getting back in time, got the save. JNAPS and Chicago gonna wait, but AJ gets both of them beat as Atomic flips it downfield. First Killer's got no boost, and so he has to let the ball hang.
Such a good read from Atomic, and he stays forward off the ceiling, maybe a follow-up two, crashing on top of it. Atomic, a highlight play there on the defensive side. Everybody reading the play so well, and here he is again, staying in position, making sure that they can keep some offensive pressure. The best we've seen out of G2, I'd say, throughout the whole overtime, but it's given away right to FaZe Clan.
First Killer pushing the ball out to the side. There was another chance for G2 that was taken away by Typical, and when G2 do get down the field on that last push, just didn't have enough boost to really force FaZe to feel the pressure, but Typical just got caught out, and he makes the touch. It was off the post. Probably wouldn't have got the rebound, but still, that one a little close for FaZe.
Yeah, Typical's so thankful that that was not on target because he was overextending his rotation just a little bit too far forward. Caught off guard. Atomic, here's another early shot on net off the backboard. AJ is in position, and we got a 1v1 First Killer against Chicago, but Atomic bails him out and keeps his team in OT.
AJ pass in front, taken away by JNAPS, and he'll collect his own boost. He's got Chicago on the wing. JNAPS coming up for upfield, got First Killer beat, 2 touches. No, he doesn't get there. But the rebound is Chicago's, and G2 take the overtime.
And it's just when you think FaZe Clan are going to be the ones to break through the defense. Nope, it's going to be G2 off that beautiful air dribble from JNAPS all the way down the field, off the backboard, and setting his teammates up.
Wow. I mean, FaZe had a couple of really nice pushes there. That solo effort from First Killer in front of the box, fakes out the first defender, puts the shot on net, but then somehow Atomic rolls in with the save at the very end. And then they get the transition, they hold on to the ball, and JNAPS putting that ball above AJ, or onto AJ rather, bumping into AJ. There's no chance he was going to have to get back to that ball. FaZe trying to make up for it. It didn't happen. And G2 really survived. I felt like FaZe were controlling most of that game,
And it's the follow-up. First Killer, he got around the first player, and he had a clear opening at the net, but the shot was too weak. And I think that's maybe the third or fourth time, Jorby, that I have noticed the striking from FaZe Clan. It's a little bit underwhelming, a bit watered down here whenever they're going for the shot. They're not getting the proper connection, and the power slightly weak in that situation. First Killer, he got past the first player. All he had to do was smack that ball in, couldn't get contact, and it ended up to be the biggest punishment there for the entire game.
It really feels like that's the only thing not working for FaZe, because defense, they were able to get the
everything else great.
They even made the double commits work. They got a couple of pinches out, forced G2 to respect that clear potential. but they couldn't come up with the goal. So they got to find a way to get their shot. Really not accuracy, it's just the power. And sometimes a little bit of physicality will get you what you need. AJ gets the first for FaZe.
Oh, and they have activated the beast. Look at this man go. He missed that other opportunity, but he's making use of this one and all that open space off the kickoff. The air dribble, leaves the ball, gets the bump, and then, of course, you've got a follow-up from AJ. That's the first killer we know and love, and we'd like to see him come out here and come alive in Game 2.
After over 7 minutes of scoreless play,
oh
FaZe
my
get
goodness.
almost 2 at the start of the game, but the dunk can't happen. Chicago picks up the save initially, back over to Atomic. And
Look at him go. They've
lost
activated first killer, man. They have done it.
Thought he might have had it on the pass. Yeah, first killer. There's something about this player when you need him to turn on that extra gear, that final gear. He's got it. And even when you feel like he's playing well, he can somehow take over a lobby out of nowhere. And that's been the kind of force that he brings to FaZe, and why people regularly call first pillar one of the best, if not the best player in North America. But you see why people are so high on this guy. He pushes this one down for a save. AJ gets caught out, and Atomic ties the game.
And we got the follow-up here from Atomic. It was a very awkward situation for the defense of FaZe. 2 players in net. First killer, we were just talking about him on offense and how detrimental he can be towards the defense, but here he doesn't get the first touch that's away from the net. Instead, it goes right to the hands of G2, and they've got an easy follow-up.
Chicago gonna roll that ball back to the corner, but FaZe get the boomer downfield. Sipical got the catch, got the dribble, got the flick, got the goal. Sipical takes it in.
And it's beautiful timing here from Sipical because there's a couple of different options he can go for. He can either try to flick this one on early. He knows that another defender's coming. But if he waits too long, Chicago is crashing the net. You've got first killer taking out the defender. So lovely timing out of that flick from Sipical. And they take back that lead.
Better of this kickoff. FaZe missed the ball. Jay now
What's going on
the side, but it's taken away by Sipical.
I like how the first game was just picture perfect defense, and now it's getting a little bit sloppy here in Game 2. But this is what we want to see: more space given to these players, showing us what they can do with that extra ball time and extra space.
G2 trying to withstand FaZe pressure, and still it's coming. That shot just above the net. JNAPS gets a little bit of time to look at it. Atomic almost pre-jumps that ball. Chicago gets it back in time for the 50. Bails JNAPS out. They can push the ball downfield.
AJ, what does he got? Oh my goodness, first killer. He's already downfield. Nice touch back into the mid. Doesn't connect. And you know that G2, they're reading the play so well on defense. They know exactly where FaZe Clan are trying to pass the ball, but what they haven't been able to read is where first killer's going for those demps. The physicality from this player whenever he gets in a 1v1 situation. They can't stop that right now.
Chicago, light shot, JNAPS. Nice redirect in front of the box, tying it up again.
And I got to see where, I believe it was Chicago landed here. No, he passed. It was JNAPS landing forward and then cut himself in front of the defender and got that first touch initially. It's such lovely positioning for him to get in front of him and make sure he can find that first touch.
FaZe can't keep a lead for more than what feels about 30 seconds. They're gonna get another chance here to get the clear. JNAPS cuts them off. Hard touch back over to Chicago. They made the clear difficult for first killer. With a little bit of space, Sipical ends up giving the ball up. To commit, Chicago just gotta keep it away from the FaZe rotation.
Yeah, and that's such a good touch from Chicago. He knew that both his teammates had double commit, so instead, what does he do? He sends it to the corner, buys some time, and lets everybody rotate back.
Ooh, nice little touch there from Chicago, but it's cut off by first killer. And AJ's got space, drops it back to first killer, but it's actually Atomic who cuts right in, and he's gonna have another read, just misses the touch. Atomic trying to harass that back line. First killer trying to recorrect. He does get the backflip, but it's G2's push here. Nice pass from Chicago again.
Oh
a
my
nasty
goodness.
setup, and Atomic delivers the pain.
And it's all about the speed of this setup. Chicago, it's a routine midfield pass. AJ had it read. He was positioning himself for that exact same pass, but because of the speed that Chicago hit that ball with, there is no intercepting it, Jorby.
Just the power on that pass.
Yeah.
You have to be able to react instantly to it.
You can't get in front of it. It's impossible.
It was a dime to Atomic. That was just absolutely pristine stuff from Chicago. First killer setting up another chance, but JNAPS jumps in front of it, and G2's defense, Turtle, you talked about it earlier. and they're holding firm again, finding a way to get by every single FaZe opportunity. Even this one, Chicago's ready for the stage, and JNaps is going to get the clear.
What is that touch from Chicago, too? The risky, soft one right in front of his own net. The composure for him to go for that. When you've got 3 players of FaZe Clan hunting for a goal, oh my word, it's insane right now from G2. It seems like nothing is forcing them to panic on the defensive line.
Chicago ripped one up. Maybe JNaps goes for it, maybe he doesn't. Either way, Chicago still got the ball. Getting in the way of the FaZe rotation, who are now having a lot of issues breaking out. You see Typical with no boost, but he's got the 50 to AJ. And FaZe can get out, but they're in a position again, down by 1 with a minute left. They gotta find a way to tie it up.
Well, it's a good 50-50. There's space for Typical. What's he gonna do? Go off the backboard. He does win the challenge, and now sets up AJ with a pass in the midfield for first killer. And they're connecting a nice string of passes here, Jorby, but nothing quite in front of the net yet. And as I say that, here comes AJ with the best look he's gotten all game.
That was good touch here from first killer. You saw in the net, Atomic, he comes up on the back wall and ends up getting destroyed on it. I think he thought that first killer was going to give that touch up a little earlier. So he gets up onto the back wall and it ends up taking him out of position. And it was already they were going into the corners constantly against FaZe, and eventually they just whittled them down.
Dude, I need to see that replay again. I think I saw a first killer land with the back of his car on the wall, and then he used his boost to get in front of it and get the touch here. Hold on, is another follow-up from FaZe Clan. After this game is over, we can take a look at the replays, but for now, we've still got some crazy action in front of us.
Chicago pushes that ball out. Might be headed to an overtime on Aquadome. FaZe are pushing right now. They want to end this in regulation. G2 going to get the clear out to the side, and it's Chicago who lobs it back downfield. They might even have a chance. Sends it up once. First killer puts it down in front. Probably the only touch that would have worked because all of G2 are waiting. Pass in front. Shot wide. Time running out. Atomic. He wants one more chance at the net with control. Gets the touch up back to Chicago. Denied. We got overtime.
And it was a golden opportunity for JNaps. He's going to want another look at that one. Couldn't find the accuracy. And right off the kickoff, we've got FaZe Clan getting aggressive, doesn't take the boost, but first killer, of course, winning the 50-50. And all momentum seems to be in favor now of FaZe Clan after that previous goal.
Chicago, not a lot of boost, just trying to protect the ball, and does it for Atomic to get back in time. AJ, pass back to first killer, over to AJ, cut off by JNaps.
It seems like G2 a little bit more aware that FaZe Clan are trying to string together passes close to each other. That's what led to that initial goal. And we'll see if G2 start to position themselves a bit more on man coverage, trying to keep themselves in the same position, same space as where FaZe Clan like to position themselves on offense. Here we go, another 50-50. JNaps moving forward. Doesn't find the touch, and we got Typical winning some challenges. This ball staying in the half of G2, Jorby.
Atomic having to rush in, help out. JNaps on the push. Chicago just got caught a little bit, but nobody was there to punish. And G2 could get out. Atomic avoiding one bump. Able to avoid another defender. Can he push this towards the box? He does. Gets the bump. Chicago drops it down, and first killer picked up the save. Not over. JNaps got the pinch up. AJ has to come back out. He's got the clear. The rest of G2 back, ready for the transition.
And that's what the initial weakness was from FaZe Clan, was the striking. But now that's what's the issue for G2. They can't seem to get a good touch or solid contact on the ball whenever they need to make some shots on net. It's not going in. Here's Atomic off the crossbar, or excuse me, the post. And again, the shooting accuracy plaguing G2.
That one a little tough, but that demo should have opened up the opportunity, and you saw third man was just a little too far back, have to go for it. That one just misses the mark. He had no boost, had to beat the first defender, excuse me. Typical winning the next 50, but Atomic just punches it downfield. It's gonna be wide. AJ gets in front, but Atomic gets in the way. JNaps, another setup, off the ceiling. One more touch, got the 50. AJ scoops that one up again, and FaZe are hanging on.
But it feels like this is G2's overtime. Things have shifted. It's not accurate with the shots. JNaps, there's space here moving forward. What's he going to do? Go for the 50-50? Indeed. Out to Atomic, who misses it. But JNaps does stay forward. A fake, potentially. But FaZe Clan, the defense, looking so solid to get this ball out.
Chicago diving in front to stop that transition again. FaZe still move downfield. JNaps wins one touch, but nobody's ready for G2. They just caught them out!
Oh, that's
FaZe
it!
Take Aquadome!
G2's positioning a little bit greedy here. Everybody pushing up. Chicago looking for a potential bump, and AJ doesn't want any of it. He just has one free shot from the midfield, a sinker, and that one just drops in.
That overtime lasting almost on the dot. as long as game one's OT lasted. And, well, you probably weren't expecting anything less from G2 versus FaZe. But Turtle, you were talking about G2's accuracy issues, not able to put the ball on target.
So tough, yeah.
But even getting physical as well, like G2 continually trying to bump FaZe off the play, trying to make those demos happen. And you were also talking about FaZe and those soft touches and the passes. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's the goal I wanted to see. I couldn't even see it because the angle, the ball was like covering First Killer's positioning. But he landed with the back or the top of his car on the wall and then just kept boosting and slid across. It was some of the craziest play, one of the craziest play I think I've ever seen so far. But you're right, Jorby. G2, the defense was there. They started connecting here on offense a little bit. Of course, the passing was there. You remember the Chicago pass in the midfield. That was such an immaculate pass, right? Of course, there's no missing that. But the shooting after that play, it just went all downhill.
This one has the makings of a long series. 1-1, 2 overtimes so far. A half a game of Rocket League played in both of those OTs. And I mean, you expect no less out of these two squads. FaZe, they weren't without their criticisms over the course of the season, but they're really trying to make the push happen, and they get the first goal here in game 3.
They're starting out on fire again. This is how they did in the previous matchup, or in the previous game. And here's one for Sypical. Early lead from the midfield. And that's something that worked for them against Space Station Gaming. There were a lot of shots that were taken far outside of the box where you'd wait, if you're FaZe gun, you're waiting for somebody from the opposition to overextend, to maybe force a double commit, and then an early shot, you can punish it from the midfield. That's what happened in the previous game. That's what happened just now off the kickoff.
Chicago, pass cut off by First Killer, but he's going to get back to the ball. Now G2 have to wait for FaZe to push downfield. Atomic
another early
boost,
shot.
and he gets punished for it. Atomic leaves the play, and he gave FaZe a free goal.
It's almost like nobody expects this. You see AJ and Sypical up in the air, and you're expecting maybe an air dribble, a flip reset. They're waiting to get in front of the box to shoot. Nope, never mind. They're just going to take early shots, Jorby.
But even if you think that, why would Atomic leave that play? Go get that boost.
You think I got the answer, okay? I don't know what he's doing. I don't know why he's
even if you don't see Sypical there.
He's in the Bahamas, bro. I don't know what he's doing.
Either way, it's 2-0 FaZe. Gotta cut the ball back out in the corner. JNaps can't do anything with the ball there. FaZe get another clear.
Weird positioning so far. I mean, even the OT goal last game felt awkward. Like there shouldn't have been an early shot and then another one. It's just early shot after early shot. The defense is fumbling the bag here on both sides.
Oh, and you see First Killer, he gets up the wall, and that pretty much was the death knell as far as that shot was concerned. JNaps, easy shot placement. First Killer trying to anticipate that 50, thinking it's gonna put him in a spot where he can read it off the back wall. Instead, it was a free shot for JNaps. G2 get the goal.
Ooh, lovely first touch from JNaps around the opposition. Now looking into the midfield. Atomic's there too. He's going to take his time and try to get around AJ. In this game, we've seen so many different types of play styles. It started out so defensive, Jorby, and then it got insanely aggressive now here in this game, but people are taking early shots from the midfield. We're seeing all types of Rocket League.
Naps in front of the ball again. Opting for control. Back over to the corner. No one really available for the pass, but the whip is going to give Atomic the ball. Pitches it hard to Chicago, and that one saved for now. 2 saves come out. AJ and First Killer picking it up. Atomic gets kicked into the ball. First Killer finally getting what semblance of a clear, but G2 still have control.
Oh, JNaps looking for Chicago downfield. It did connect off the backboard. Here's Atomic, but it's read by Sypical. FaZe Clan, they're getting in the way of those shots and making sure a defender can at least find a touch on anything that comes their way.
Again, still felt like that opportunity from Chicago probably could have been better placed to make FaZe uncomfortable. Instead, it was easy for FaZe to clear that ball, and that's when, Chicago comes over from the sidewall. He's capable of sinking those. That one comes across. JNaps looking for a clear with Chicago.
Even something higher off the backboard, something to make FaZe Clan work harder to get those reads and find interceptions. That's another one that's a bit routine for G2. We'll see what JNaps has. A flip reset attempt, but it's easily cleared away from AJ. Nothing special so far from the offense of G2.
Chicago coming up on this ball.
Oh my goodness.
AJ is right in the point. JNaps tries to push that ball forward again, but that by FaZe on the challenge. Small ball play here for G2. Atomic. Little dribble into a hard flick. No touch here. Typical slips it underneath. JNaps, not the best touch. He ends up giving it up. First Killer might have a race here, and he's got Atomic beat, but he makes the save. And coming up high for the rebound. Typical got the catch. Atomic slips around him, and G2 able to keep the lead 1-2 for now.
Oh, and that's another moment there for JNaps off the backboard. First Killer didn't have a touch. I don't think Chicago expected First Killer to miss it and didn't have the follow-up, but even thinking back maybe 30 seconds ago, you saw JNaps have a softer touch, Jorby. The mechanics a little bit off here for G2 in game number 3.
They do have pressure right now. Chicago playing keep away. Got the ball back to Naps, but you saw Atomic playing it wide.
Here we go.
Takes the shot and just couldn't find a way through FaZe, but a decent shot regardless. JNaps pushes it forward again. Back to Chicago, and he's missed the ball. A lot of opportunities for G2. FaZe are willing to give him the pass, but G2 just have not been able to collect.
Yeah, and that was another situation that needs to get punished. And finally, you get the answer you've been waiting for if you're a G2 fan. Maybe the third or fourth pass in the midfield. Previously, it went unanswered, but Chicago, he's there for this shot.
Yeah, it comes down to like where you think the 50 is going to go. FaZe are expecting Typical to get at least a follow-up touch, but then the ball is just snuffed away from him, and it's a quick pass from Atomic again. This time Chicago can connect. I think the thing FaZe could probably hang their hats on is they've been able to prevent a lot of these G2 opportunities, but now they're in a position again where they have to respond.
Yeah, and you can only imagine, though, what the scoreline would be if G2 were able to connect better on some of these shots. Even in that previous game, it felt like G2 a bit weaker. Here's a bump from Chicago, leaving some space for, I believe it was JNaps to go for the air dribble, but back down the other side is FaZe Clan looking to take things back to the lead. Chicago
carrying that ball very carefully downfield. Got the 50, and Atomic in a bit of an awkward spot. Comes straight back down for the reset.
Ooh,
fake out one. Wants another one, but First Killer's going to take the ball away.
And that wasted a lot of time for JNaps in Chicago to get some boost. FaZe Clan stepping on each other's toes a bit with the rotations, but they're still looking solid. 10 seconds left. FaZe Clan, they could end things here. Otherwise, G2, maybe they're the ones to end it. A nice early shot from Chicago, saved from First Killer, and now the possession keeps it close. And this should drop down, Jorby, but maybe not.
FaZe looking for the chance, drops down, and 3 straight overtimes, Turtle.
Here we go. This is what you wanted. This is what we expected, and thankfully, it's a pretty intense matchup on both ways. I wouldn't say one team has the momentum here. It's just been a dogfight on the pitch.
First Killer pushing that ball back to the corner. Chicago. Oh, it gave up the ball, and Typical got a free shot, put it high. JNaps, not the best touch. First Killer's going to be able to get back to it. G2 having to play extended defense. Typical trying to wrap around that ball, but Chicago has been really difficult to deal with on the defensive end. JNaps also getting in front of that in midfield, and FaZe got to try again.
Look at that speed from JNaps. Push that clear down field. I haven't seen too many demos here from First Killer. And speaking of demos, Chicago taking out First Killer, but I would like to see some aggression from that man himself, First Killer. What got them the previous win. And here comes AJ getting a demo. As soon as I talk about it, we've got FaZe Clan looking to get aggressive.
Ooh, Typical. Good idea on the touch. First Killer had to wait. And it gets pushed out again. Nothing really developing for FaZe despite being able to push down the field.
Look what those demos
Typical solo play. Here he comes over one. And Atomic can force the ball back out to the corner, but it's not done. Off the back wall. Next up was JNaps. Atomic hoping to get in front. No one from FaZe committed yet. First Killer staying on the ground. And Chicago trying to push this downfield, and winning that 50 might set something up here for G2. Atomic waits. First Killer coming out. JNaps has to get the clear out, and both teams trying to fake out the other with these challenges, forcing them to give up the ball to their respective third man for a chance for a quick transition. But it hasn't really worked out because the third man on both teams have been clutch getting the ball back downfield.
And at this point, it feels like who can read those challenges better? And who can read this pinch? Oh my word, from First Killer. Down to the other side, that could have been crazy. A nice midfield touch from Typical, but nobody was there. And Jorby, what I was talking about is there's a lot of 50-50s, and you know it's going to be difficult to read these, but that's what it's coming down to. Like right here, Typical and Atomic. Who's going to read that 50-50 better? In this situation, it was FaZe Clan to keep the ball out, but G2, if they can somehow predict where that ball is going to end up and get in front of a FaZe Clan defender, that could be the end here for this game.
No one from G2 was able to commit on the ball. FaZe trying to regain control of midfield, but now it's G2 pushing down. Get the shot, just a little high. 2 touches in, and Atomic delivers the strike and gives G2 the Game 3 victory.
And it was a handoff. What a touch from Chicago. Talk about creativity, using the bottom side of his car later in the flip to get it into the midfield. And it's followed up by a double tap from Atomic. You can't ask for anything more if you're a G2 fan.
Chicago was really looking threatening with those 50s. Again, on defense, almost able to shake the ball out every single time and even get a couple of midfield challenges, but things started to die when they got back onto offense. We talked about how many passes they missed early on in the game, but then they started to connect. Then it started to get a little more difficult. And while they weren't able to put consistent pressure on FaZe's half, a breakout opportunity like that from Chicago, and then, I mean, Atomic as well. That was, two players had to make an insane play there, and they both did it.
I honestly don't know how you can even save that. Like, as I'm watching that replay, like, we have gotten to a level in Rocket League where it's, I genuinely don't think that you can have a position on defense where you save that, because with Chicago's angle towards the ball, the best possible situation was what I believe First Killer was doing on the backboard. He's staying there, anticipating a touch from Chicago that'll smack against the backboard. But with the way Chicago used his flip, he somehow got a touch into the midfield, and then you get a double tap from Atomic. I don't know how you get in front of that, Jorby. I seriously.
You're seeing that prediction from both teams' third men. Whoever's in that third position is picking where this play is going to go so far ahead of time to try to read it, because both of these teams are so fast and they're capable of switching things up on you so quickly. So it's like, who's going to take advantage of the mind game there, right? Who wins the chess battle of the positioning between the third men? Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. And sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes Atomic just styles on you, and you say, GG, go next.
Or maybe you get First Killer. I mean, we're talking a lot about G2. Sometimes you can get First Killer being aggressive with the 1v1 plays. I seriously believe that he's the reason why they got that first game here in the series for FaZe Clan, and I want to see more of that. That's what we need to see activated, and we'll see if he can have that same level of performance that he had on Aquadome.
Well, G2 do take series advantage 2-1. They would love to put this series on match point again. World's qualification on the line for G2. If they win this series, they're in to the World Championship, period. Big opportunity here for G2. For FaZe, again, since adding Typical to the roster, they have not been in a regional grand final. So this is also a big opportunity for them, and that's a nice pass from First Killer to Sip.
And I'm loving the way that this game has been unfolding for us. It's been a heavy reliance on midfield passing. And JNaps, he had the read, but with the power, again, on that pass in the midfield, it doesn't matter if you've got the read and you're anticipating it. You can't get in front of it if that ball is just a lightning bolt into the midfield.
Off the kickoff, ball will roll back into the corner. But Chicago's going to get the first read. First touch, two-touch save! Came off of AJ's car and then off the backboard again. Back off Chicago, and the rebound goes out. And FaZe, you say they get away with it, but honestly, AJ came up with a stellar touch.
I was going to say, that literally looked like pinball. It was so hard to follow where this one was going. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is FaZe Clan still hold the lead after getting the save. Atomic off the backboard. AJ does have the read, and he's going to the sidewall with some space and boost to work with.
Quick shot from AJ just off the bar. Chicago couldn't come up with a touch. Now First Killer, high pop to over two defenders. And JNaps has to clean up real quick. But look how quick AJ's getting back to the midfield line. FaZe starting to gain a lot of control here. Typical midfield boost is his. Atomic racing back for the battle. Across the box. Looks like it's going to be Atomic's ball. First Killer and AJ cut it off. Maybe another chance here for FaZe as it's pushed out again. First Killer, shot denied. And JNaps gets the clear.
It looks like G2 are opting to go for these challenges in their own half. Like right in that previous situation, we saw Atomic waiting behind the ball. And FaZe Clan, that third man and that second man even, is positioning themselves a little bit deeper. So if it does come down to this challenge game, I think G2 definitely have the benefit because they're much closer to the ball. They can carry this one out. So for FaZe Clan, I think the key is to keep this ball high and try to prevent a lot of those challenges.
Good stop from Typical in midfield, allowing First Killer to come in. Other stuff here from Chicago. JNaps with a speedy follow-up. Actually gets around First Killer. Chicago setting up Atomic. Shot on the left side. Nicely placed, 1-1.
And you'll see G2, they're keeping this ball grounded, looking for another 50-50 was JNaps, but instead he's just faking out First Killer in the corner who backflipped towards the ball, and then everybody getting involved from G2 to punish. And you'll notice that ball, it was stuck to the ground, Joby. That's where G2 are most comfortable in this game.
Oh, AJ, 2 nice touches in front. That ground game's certainly successful, but you're talking about the infield passes from FaZe as well. That worked to great effect for G2. You got to really find everything you've got in the playbook to work against either of these teams. Because they're capable of reading and thwarting so many different types of opportunities. There's just so much talent on the pitch here.
Exactly. And that's why you get so excited about a series like this, a matchup like this, G2 versus FaZe. Is you know you're not going to get routine plays or the same play style all throughout the series. It's constantly evolving, constantly changing. One thing might work for a little bit, then the defense adapts, and it's up to the offense of G2 or FaZe Clan to change things up.
And FaZe, so far, as they set up another opportunity. First killer saved by JNaps. AJ puts it off the bar, and here comes Typical. First killer got the bump. 1 touch, 2 touches, it's saved! It was halfway in!
What is going on?
It doesn't go in, FaZe! They could try, they could pray, but no one answers. They got no goal.
I'm thinking, what is going on? How is this ball not going past the goal line? And now I'm getting flashbacks to the Winter Major, the G2 saves. You remember what happened on the goal line. Somehow managing to keep this ball out. They do it again here, but for how long? 1 minute and 10 seconds left, and first killer strikes.
And that's his first goal of the entire series. Yeah, that's right. First killer hasn't scored yet, Turtle.
There it is.
And we're 4 games in, but out of FaZe's now 8 goals. He's assisted 6 of them.
Yeah.
And just scored that one. First killer still involved despite not being the goal scorer. And he's had a bunch of his shots saved as well. Atomic tries to push this ball out.
Well, it's been a lot of solo plays from first killer. Him doing work behind the ball, off the crossbar. Hold on a second. Almost led to something. Chicago moving forward, but like I was talking about, first killer, you know, he might not be scoring a lot of these goals, but the play is certainly set up to the point where he deserves most of the credit. And Chicago, with the pass to Atomic, they tie it up.
Atomic has been the goal scorer for G2, though. Chicago gets this one set up, and everybody from FaZe still trying to recover. AJ turning around back in net. First killer recovering from his last touch, and Typical was still rotating back. Just a perfect opportunity for Chicago to lay that up for Atomic.
Here we go, all tied up. Just when you think FaZe Clan have the advantage and, you know, somehow managed to get the lead, it's right back into G2's possession, and we're all tied up. 33 seconds left. Who's going to adapt now? What difference and change in offense do we see?
Chicago punches that ball back to JNaps. Atomic gonna play headhunter. JNaps got the 50. FaZe trying to worm that ball out of the corner. They do. Now first killer's got a one-on-one. Not the best touch, and it's an easy clear.
Uncharacteristic from first killer to panic in that situation. He's so used to 1v1 plays where if he just waited a bit more on the flick, could have gotten one in. 5 seconds left. Back down the other side. First killer looking for something again, maybe trying to avenge himself, but doesn't connect, and that one's going to fall down. We've got overtime again, Jorby.
This whole season, before this series started, FaZe and G2 had played 20 games against each other. Only 3 of those games went to overtime. All 4 of these games have gone to overtime. This is nuts. This is how we're going to go in again. What? This man does not know how to stop scoring. He puts another one in, another OT banger set up by JNaps, and G2 take a series lead 3-1.
And it's such a smart play from JNaps in the corner. You can go for a simple touch off the backboard, but it's not nearly as effective. And with how deep Atomic was as that second man, the best option is to go for that corner touch, that corner pass, have it bounce a little bit further back, and of course, set up none other than Atomic, who got a hat trick in this game.
And FaZe calling the tactical timeout.
Oh, here we go, here we go.
They're gonna need a breather down 1-3. And Turtle, you were talking about this a little earlier with FaZe's tactical timeout.
This is massive for FaZe Clan. This is what changed and swapped the tides in the previous game and series, for FaZe Clan up against Space Station Gaming. They lost the first 2 games in that best of 7, and then they called the timeout and then won 4 in a row, completely changing momentum here. And if they do the same thing, it doesn't matter if G2 are on match point. 4 games in a row. They did it before after the timeout. They can certainly do it here again.
What's the sauce here for FaZe? Like, what's the approach to beat this G2 team? Because now twice you've had, or 3 times, you've had a lead, and you've squandered that lead every time. And it's Atomic. It's Atomic who keeps scoring these goals. Now, granted, full team effort for G2, absolutely. But where are things failing for FaZe on defense. How can they prevent this from happening again?
In my opinion, it's the ground game for FaZe Clan. In that game alone, they were lacking in 50-50s and also the dribbles. I can think back to a huge moment here towards the end of that previous game. First killer, he was on the ground going for a solo dribble. You expect more from him. He was not patient at all with his flick, panicking early, and that's a goal that he should score. That's a goal that you expect and you need from first killer. Also, I mentioned it, and I saw a lot of 50-50s not going their way, and even if a 50-50 did occur on the field, you'd have somebody from G2 much closer on the play in that shadow defensive spot to get a follow-up touch. Then FaZe Clan, it's awkward. It's almost like G2, they recognize that FaZe Clan are playing deeper, playing more extensive and I'd say spaced out rotations. And G2, they're like, okay, we'll keep this ball grounded, we'll keep it close to us, and therefore we can do a little bit more with it.
And as we look at the Mobile One high performance replay, we see it again. Chicago setting up Atomic. That's been the duo most of the time. I mean, that one, Atomic again, from who else other than Chicago? These two keep linking up in crucial, critical moments, and it's giving G2 these wins. Turtle, it's insane to me how G2, it's like they won in LA, and then they were like, okay, yeah, we're good now. We're good now. We want more.
It's not enough.
Yeah, I don't think we proved enough yet. Let's go for another one, as they're one game away from clinching a world championship spot.
Yeah, and that's the hunger you need, Jorby, to be a world champion here. And of course, G2 making a strong case here whenever we, of course, go to the world championship to be a top contender at taking the trophy. But of course, it all starts with this series, with this win and securing that spot.
This match has been full of overtimes.
I want another one. Every single match,
everyone. You know, we've never had any best of 7 go all overtimes. Oh, okay. Chicago just steals the ball away. Oh, big thief energy right there.
Yeah.
1-0.
And this is a playbook that was stolen out of FaZe Clan here with an early shot from the midfield where everybody from FaZe did overextend, and that's a painful one here, Jorby. You just take a timeout, you get into the game, and then immediately you're punished by an early shot from Chicago.
JNAB sets this ball up in front. Typical. Thought he had to defend a 50 a little quicker than that.
Look at Chicago keeping this ball grounded, Jorby. It's amazing to see, and then it leads to an opportunity. That's been happening so frequently here for G2. They'll keep the ball low, and then a 50-50 will go in their favor. They'll have a nice little follow-up, and they can keep possession off of it.
Light touch from first killer isn't going to go anywhere.
Oh my
Chicago going to punch the ball back downfield. Typical is going to stay on the ground this time. Pass to the right to first killer. First killer going to force Atomic off the ball. Atomic shakes it off him and gets the follow-up touch over AJ.
I think first killer might be a little bit flustered. He's not used to it, where he can't get the advantage on the ground. That was an early shot, a good opportunity for FaZe Clan, slightly off. Typical looking for a midfield pass. He wins the 50-50. And here comes AJ looking for first killer. A give and go back down the field. Almost led to a shot opportunity, but here we go. G2, what do they have?
First killer racing back down the field, or down his corner, rather. No boost. Got the flick, but Atomic's there to defend. All to set up AJ here. What have FaZe got? So we're going to pull off on this play. Ooh. Pass successful to first killer, but Atomic able to beat Typical out. Now JNAB's got a one-on-one. All he can do is punch the ball downfield. AJ's got to protect this ball as Chicago gets the steal. And the win on the 50 back to Atomic. JNAB's in the air by himself. One touch. Lets it drop. Chicago just missed it. Atomic's back on the rotation.
Here we go.
Typical the 2v1. Flicks it up. And JNAB's gets the save.
Immaculate recovery there from both players, Atomic and JNAB's, to get back on their own half in a situation where they pushed up a little bit too far. First killer now off the ceiling, looking to make something out of the air. Doesn't connect, and this one a runaway ball. Atomic, a 1v1 situation, potentially a 1v2. He goes for the early pop-up, and then now FaZe Clan are all over each other and still escape unscathed.
Well, Atomic pushing the ball forward again, but AJ protects the ball. If FaZe have anything here, they've not been able to generate any offense. Pass to Atomic, risky, and another challenge just goes back to FaZe territory. JNAB's hoping he can get that ball out to Atomic, but instead it's a clear.
The confidence for Atomic to still go for that. First killer had read the play and knew what was happening, cut early, and Atomic still went forward as that third man.
First killer cutting back around on the ground. JNAP's back over to Atomic. He's cut them off. They got
Look at
FaZe
FaZe,
awkward
Dan.
here. JNAP's shot is good. Puts it right in Typical's face. 2-0.
And you can see the calculations right now occurring for JNAPS. He's thinking, okay, how am I going to get this ball into the top left corner? What's the best possible angle? Let me wait a bit so I can get a solid flick. And it even acts as a fake. I'm sure the defenders there assumed and anticipated a dribble from JNAPS. With how slow he approached it, you expect something that was a bit slower, but instead a nice early flick and a 2-goal lead for G2, maybe 3 if Chicago was able to get that one to the midfield.
And they're doing whatever they want to do with the ball, Turtle. I mean, every pass is working. They're winning every single touch. Even when they're throwing the ball away to FaZe, they're still winning somehow. AJ, it's still not pretty there. His first killer, he gets a demo and tries to barrel through. Typical awkward spot, he backs up. And Atomic, Chicago just stays on the ground again, fooling FaZe. Here's on the 1v1, flicks it over him! Oh my goodness, Chicago on fire!
The 1v1 prowess from this man and first killer. He expected a mind game. Look at the positioning of Chicago. He went all the way to the left side of the ball and looked like he was going to go for a mind game. First killer thought that was what was going to happen, so went for an early challenge, but an even earlier flick from a Chicago, and that takes him out.
G2, a minute away.
Oh, that was huge.
And they just gave up another one. That shot denied. JNAP's up in front of it. They're just getting to every single ball. FaZe, everyone on the backboard. Slow transition out. Chicago kicks the ball away again. Don't think we might be getting an overtime this time, Turtle. But
I don't think we have an overtime. Coming with a 3-goal lead, 52 seconds left. FaZe Clan on the brink of getting knocked down in the lower bracket. Unless Typical maybe can go for a fake. All right, 46 seconds, Joby. Do you believe?
You know, it's all about the tactical caster curse, Turtle.
That's right.
You know,
no, I'm down. I'm totally down to curse this. I want to go all the way. I want every OT. Come on.
I don't think I've ever heard you say I'm totally down to curse this, but
dude, I'm the biggest FaZe Clan at this moment. I want every single OT possible.
Well, let's see if it happens. Atomic just wins the kickoff.
43 seconds. Come on.
First killer. Sending it downfield. Got the reset. Back to Typical. One touch, 2 touches to AJ, and just a little far off. First killer gonna send it across. G2 gonna waste more time on the clock.
All right. What do they have? Ooh, a nice early read.
No
AJ off the crossbar. First killer, maybe the follow-up save from Chicago. That's huge. That save right there was what kept FaZe Clan at bay and denied them from getting something. And they're still off the crossbar, Jorby. They still can't get it.
You're supposed to score that one. Typical, that's probably gonna do it. Got the flip reset back to first killer, denied by JNAPS. He's been in the way. Chicago, there might as well be 3 of him on the field. In addition to JNAPS and Atomic, G2 have clinched a spot at the World Championship.